There is one place that is probably more important in your life than any other place, and it's the place that you spend the most time, the workplace. Today, I've brought you somebody who knows the workplace like nobody else. She's the most followed content creator in specifically career and workplace strategies, and I want to talk to her today, Erin McGough. Erin, thank you so much for coming.
Jefferson, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to get to talk in person after exchanging so many DMs.
Yeah, I know. We were like encouraging each other along the way as we were each growing. I know you have like over 6 million followers across all your platforms, which is incredible. And it's been really fun to cheer each other on along the way. So congratulations with everything.
Oh my gosh, congratulations to you. Your book is fantastic. It's on my bookshelf. And I have to say real quick, my mom is your biggest fan ever, and she loves your content so much. So shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom. What's mom's name?
Claire. She's the one from
Claire.
Texas, from the Panhandle. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Claire, love that you're from Texas. Thanks for following me. That's awesome. This is one of my favorite kind of conversations when I can talk to other creators who are similar in space, because it could be a very lonely space when you're getting into it. And this is a question that I ask just about every one of my guests that I have. And this is the first question. Specifically with communication, Erin, how does Erin McGough talk to herself? Like, I want you to share with people how do you encourage yourself? What's the self-talk like before we start talking about how to engage with everybody else?
Oh, so important. The way that you communicate with yourself is the most important person you will ever communicate with is yourself. I always say, like, my key to confidence is just being your own best friend. You know, talking to yourself the way that you would talk to a best friend. So, you know, if I look in the mirror and I hear that thought of, oh, I don't look very good today, I imagine if my friend was saying that and what I would say to her, and I'd be like, you're ridiculous. Like, it's okay, just go take a shower. You know, so I like to keep it real with myself, but also give myself so much empathy and compassion, because we're oftentimes our worst critics. So be your own best friend. I'm my own best friend.
Be your own best friend. Do you hear that, everybody? I love that. I think that's wonderful. And do you say it like in the mirror, or when you're driving to yourself, or do you imagine a duplicate of yourself when you're thinking this?
Yeah, I probably sound a little bit crazy, but yeah, I mean, after a while, it just became a habit. Like, you look in the mirror, or, you know, you hear those critical thoughts of yourself, or, oh, I sounded bad in that meeting. Oh, those people didn't like me. And then you just respond to yourself and you're like, those people probably liked you. Like, there's no indicator that they didn't like you. And then after a while, that just becomes one singular voice. I know it sounds kind of split personality-ish, but I noticed it the other day. I'm like, wow, I'm actually really kind to myself. I keep it real. You know, you can't just be worshiping yourself all the time. You have to keep it real with yourself, but you would keep it real with a best friend. You know, you don't just worship a best friend and constantly, you know, boost them up and up and up, but you need to be real with them sometimes. So that's why I like that kind of saying, be your own best friend.
I like that. And I think it's a healthy balance too. You can hype them up. At the same time, you have to be like, hey, listen, I know you think you're great. I need to give you the truth. So I think that's
get your butt to the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get going, get out of bed, get going.
Yeah.
Erin is the most followed career advice content creator out there. Before we talk about some strategies, I understand you're the youngest of 6 kids.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. So what's like the age difference between them all? And I'm the oldest of 4. So hearing this perspective is really cool for me.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I'm the youngest of 6. We're all about 2.5 years apart. So there's like a 12-year gap between me and the oldest sibling.
That's incredible. That's awesome. And growing up, you know, what did you find? How did you think that shaped your communication and your drive growing up now?
It's a great question. I think I'm a typical youngest child. You have to learn how to get a word in. And that's why I think I speak so quickly, is because, and have a sense of humor. A lot of youngest children have a sense of humor because we're just trying to get our word in and trying to get attention. So I definitely learned how to like think really quick on my feet, be pithy and concise, because you're trying to, you know, just get a word in. And to be fair, my parents were really good about giving everybody equal attention and time and being very fair about things. But yeah, you definitely learn how to be very quick on your feet.
I can definitely see that. And I think that's why your career advice content does so well, is because you have, as you know, we have a very short window of time to give a whole lot of information to people. And like with my followers, we get a lot of value out of what you could say were scripts. Like how I tell people, instead of this word, I want you to flip it and use this word. Or maybe the structure of a sentence, I want them to reverse it or replace a certain phrase. And so I could see how, as the youngest, getting that word in, being really quick on your feet is very strategic when it comes to communicating in the workplace.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And yeah, being the youngest, you're always talked down to as well, especially of six. I was the bottom of eight people. And so everybody's always talking down to you. So you really learn how to kind of like manage up from a young age and like talk up to people. And I was definitely always treated older than I was, I think. So people always told me I was mature for my age. So yeah, I would say it very, very much affected me in a positive way growing up in that big, big tribe. But yeah, I definitely don't want to have six kids. I don't know how anybody can manage that this day and age, but they do.
All right. So as the most followed career advice content creator, where do you draw your experience from, Erin?
So many different places. I mean, every morning I listen to, business podcasts, I read studies and research, but I also just talk to people. Every single day in my DMs, I'm conversing with recruiters, business owners, and especially job seekers. And I just like to be like kind of a boots on the ground person listening. And then when it comes to all the advice that I share, it's truly just wisdom that I've stolen from so many people in my life. I listen to TED Talks, but I also just will like give advice that I heard from my dad or from, my aunt or something like that. So it's truly just a mosaic, and I basically just look to some of the wisest minds in the world. I listen to what I hear repeated over and over again, and then the cherry on top is kind of what I've experienced in my own life. I don't really give advice from personal experience. I more like to research a variety of sources and then kind of boil it down and then put my personal experience kind of as a cherry on top. So I run a lot of my content like through friends who work in different industries, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really, my content's a lot more researched, I think, than people realize.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. So I'm like the opposite. Mine is 0% researched, and all, from my world in the communication and litigation courtroom world, whereas you are more of a encyclopedia, like library resource of all the tools that people can use and go to when it comes to the workplace and career, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like we're both giving subjective advice, So you might say one thing, another career expert might say another thing. So yeah, like as much as I like to pretend it's objective and research-based, like at the end of the day, it really is just subjective.
Oh yeah, it all is. I mean, that's why I end with, so try that.
Yeah.
It's not you must do this. It's just you can try it if you
I
like
love
it.
it.
If you don't like it, you don't have to. I want to get into a topic, Erin, that I know that anybody in the workplace has dealt with before and continues to deal with, and that's specific to interviews. Where I know you're very, very versed in interviews. This is the question I want to ask. How do you handle the what's your greatest weakness interview question?
Yeah, man, can you believe they're still asking that question?
I can't believe it. I can't actually.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things. So the first thing is to understand the question behind the question is what I say. So when they're asking what is your greatest weakness, they're not actually asking like about what your greatest weakness is. Like mine is Ben and Jerry's half-baked ice cream. Like they're not really curious about that. What they're really asking is, what are your red flags? Are you going to reveal something to me that I might need to know? Also, it's kind of a signal of how professional you are, because if you're caught off guard by this question, or if you answer it quote unquote wrong, it kind of signals to them that you don't like know that that was an interview question that people ask and you didn't know how to answer it. So it's kind of part of this hidden curriculum and secret language of work. So there's that. So they're really asking like, how well can you professionally articulate yourself? So the question's about articulation. And then the second half of it is how to answer. And I always teach something called the 10-90 rule. So you should spend only 10% of your answer naming the weakness, and then the remaining 90% talking about how you're working on it. So you're really talking about self-awareness. I'm aware of this weakness within myself. Here's why it's important, and here's what I'm doing to address it. And you know what? It's really working out so far. And you don't want to name something like, a lot of people will say, oh, well, I'm a perfectionist, and you'll get an immediate eye roll. You don't want to name something that's a character trait. Like, you don't want to say, like, I'm a perfectionist, or this is just the way that I am. You want to name something kind of tangible that you're working on. And something else that's really important is that it needs to be real, but don't have it be directly hindering. Like, it shouldn't hinder your ability to do the job, So, delegation is safe for a lot of people. Not if you're a manager, don't say delegation, but, something that I'm currently working to improve are my delegation skills. So each week I try to delegate one task, and, I keep a sticky note next to my laptop, and it's really helping me remember that.
So I think that brings up such a good point. When anybody, a supervisor, somebody interviewing you is asking that greatest weakness question, what I hear you saying is you need to see the issue behind the issue. They don't really care about your weakness. They're wondering, where are the problems with you? Where are those? Can you talk about those red flags? And I love how you need to talk about something that's concrete, and preferably something you're working on. So it's not like my weakness is I'm just too honest, or I'm too much of a hard worker sometimes. Like, you try and use that as a compliment. I think that can definitely go wrong. I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, I just do everything perfectly. That's all you're saying. But if you can put it in terms of, like you said, I have a hard time delegating sometimes, or I occasionally try to work too fast, and that might cause me to miss a few things. I think that what I also take away from this, Aaron, is when you can have that moment of honesty to say, it's not necessarily my weakness, but this is a thing I'm working on. As I think that shows a lot of self-awareness, that's what really employers are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really looking, because I'll post an example and people will say, well, you shouldn't tell an employer that, you don't have a sense of humor, or that you're too blunt. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the point, is that you tell them how you're working on it, and how you're self-aware, and how you understand. And also, you're not telling them a deal breaker, Don't tell them you're working on your sense of humor if you're applying to be a comedy writer. Read the room.
Yeah.